Hi guys, it's Susan. We're here in my studio and I have some projects to share with you guys. You guys all know that I am on the Memory Bound design team. And of course Memory Bound is located in Ankeny, Iowa. For my design team projects this time around, Dawn gave me several different things to work with. I'm going to show you a few and show you what I've done with those. One of the things she gave me was the Wendi Vecchi Art Parts. And these, you guys, are, and I don't really have much left I can show you. They're like super thick, super hard cardboard, and they're really fun to work with. She gave me the sample pack, and when I first got these, I was a little intimidated by them. I really wasn't sure that I understood what I was supposed to do with them, or how to do it, or how it was going to turn out. And I was a little nervous at first. So I got them out the other day. I got them out Saturday and started playing around. And you guys, I love these things. They are so much fun. And it's so quick and simple to put projects together. So what I've used with these, let me show you here. I was also given a pack of the Wendi Vecchi Clearly for Art modeling film. This is the sample pack. It comes with one clear, one black, and one white. And you guys, this stuff is a riot to play with. I've been having all kinds of fun with it. So I had some of that I was asked to use with my art parts. And then I got out my Tim Holtz Tattered Florals die, and I got out my new Tim Holtz paper stash, and this is the Crowded Attic collection. Really like this collection. And then I got out a variety of other things. I got out my little Tim Holtz bottles. I've been dying to play with those and hadn't done anything with them. I got out my film strip ribbon. I got out my Tim Holtz gaffer tape. And then for inks, I used my faded jeans, my brushed corduroy, and my frayed burlap. And I also believe, hang on just a second, excuse my reach, I used some of the weathered wood as well. So those are the inks that I used. And of course, you guys know me and my crackle. Got to have my crackle. So I pulled out my Distress Crackle in Picket Fence. And then a variety of the new Distress Stains. And these are as much fun to play with as the modeling film. These are just cool. And I hadn't played with these much before now. And the ones that I have here that I used are the Broken China, the Antique Linen, the Spun Sugar, and the Peeled Paint. And I also used some chocolate brown seam binding. And you guys, everything I've shown you is, of course, available at Memory Bound. So let's get started here, and I'll show you the projects I've been working on. And I'll give you a sneak peek to the last project I'll be doing with these. It's not quite finished, but it will be soon. So we're going to set that aside. And the first project that I did was this hanging plaque, and you can see it hangs on chains there. And up here it says, "Every possibility begins with the courage to imagine." And that stamp is from the new Tim Holtz collection. Stuff to say. And I love this collection. This was a must-have for me. So pick that up. And let me zoom in here and I'll show you what this is. Give you a look at this little flower here. There you go. Okay. And what I've done here, the butterfly in the back is made with grunge paper. And the flower itself is made with the modeling film. And what I did was I cut it out in black using my Tattered Florals die. And then you guys, I got a script stamp that I have, and I got out my white Adirondack pigment ink right here. and I simply stamped on it. Heat set it, and then I took my Tim Holtz blending tool and my faded jeans, and I just rubbed over it, because what I discovered, and some of you probably already know this, but what I discovered is the Distress ink will stick to the white pigment paint, or the white pigment ink, excuse me. So that's how I made those. Really, really simple. The frames are just covered with the Tim Holtz design paper. Super easy. These are the chains, and those are the little, oh, I don't know what they're called. These little toggle clasps, I think that's what it's called. And you'll have to excuse my hands, I'm all grungy. And some brads. And I simply poke through this with my big paper piercer. The stuff is cardboard. It's not hard. It's not hard to work with. It's very thick, and you're going to think it's going to be tough to work with, but it's really not. So, there is the first project that I created. And I can't wait to get this one back from the store, because it's going to hang in my new studio. So let me get this one out of the way. Oops. And the next one that I created was another little hanging plaque like this. Let me move this down a little. And this one says, it's the big things, it's the little things that make life big. And of course that stamp comes from the Good Thoughts collection from Tim Holtz. You guys know I'm Tim Holtz crazy. I don't think that's a surprise to anybody. And let me zoom in on this one for you. And I'll show you this flower. And this flower, again, is made with the modeling film. This one I made with the clear. And all I did, I've got a little sample here to show you. I adhered my paper to the film. See, there's the film in the back. And I put the paper over the top. And then I inked it up, and I simply heated it and shaped it. And that's all there was to it. I've got some Tim Holtz clock hands in there. Of course, there's my penny. And this on the frame is the gaffer tape, the Tim Holtz gaffer tape. This stuff right here. And then I just simply colored it with some distress stain. I just daubed on some of the blue and some of the green and smeared it around, and I was done. It was that easy. Let me zoom out a little more. The hanger for this is just a couple of brass ball chains and a garment clip. That's all there is to it. Super easy. Again, it was super fast, you guys. I whipped this up in no time, and I had fun doing it. That's the funnest part, is I really had a good time with this. Once I got over the fear that I might do something wrong, I was all over the place with it and having a good time. Let's tip this up just a skosh. There we go. And the last thing I created is more my traditional style that you guys are used to seeing. I wanted to be sure to include a project that you know was my style, because those projects were a little on the Wendi Vecchi side of the bridge. And you guys know I don't normally work that plain or simply. So I had to do one with my own style, and what I created was this little spool. And you can see we've got some flowers on top. I'm going to set it, because if I hold it and zoom in, the camera just goes crazy. You know, it growls. Sorry. For what I have invested in this camera, I simply can't afford to go buy one that doesn't growl. Okay, there you can get a look at it. And of course, these are the Tim Holtz metal flowers. And all I did with those was I smeared a little of the Distress Crackle on the edges, let it dry good, took my ink blending tool and my frayed burlap and inked it up, and that's it. That's all there is to it. And then for the front, I have some more flowers. Get in there so you can see that. And this bottle, guys, came from the Tim Holtz collection, and the little label on it came out of his paper collection. And to create this, I'm going to turn it a little here. And I want to get in there so you can really see it. There we go. See that kind of grungy, cruddy stuff in there? That was so easy to create. It wasn't even funny. Of course, you know the corks come out of the bottles. So all I had to do was take the cork out of the bottle. And I took my tea-dyed re-inker. And I just touched the side of the bottle. I didn't even put a half a drop in, just a touch. And then I took my hang on, let me get it. Put something here so this doesn't roll away. My crackle accents. Sorry, I drew a blank there for a second. I took my crackle accents and I put a little of that in there. And then I took just my old crappy paper piercer. This one. It's actually for quilling. But I stuck that down in there and stirred it up and smeared it around and turned the bottle until it turned and got where I wanted it. And it wasn't quite right. I didn't quite have that really disgusting look that I was after. So I actually sprinkled in a few, just a pinch of Distress Embossing Powder. And I stirred that in. And I just happened to have the walnut stain one that I grabbed. It was handy. So I stirred that in and I rolled it around in the bottle, and then I left the cork out, and that's important. You need to let this dry so it doesn't mold. I left the cork out and let it dry for, it was several hours. And that's what I ended up with. And I just think that it's kind of cool. It looks, and I hope you can really see that well. Let me back up here. Hang on. I hope that really shows up for you guys. And then also with this, I have, of course, my penny. Here are some more of the Tim Holtz floral embellishments, and these are the leaves. And I did them the same way I did with the flowers on the top. Smeared on a little Distress Crackle, let it dry, used my ink blending tool, and smeared a little of the frayed burlap distress ink on it. That's all there is to it. You can see here, there's another penny. And I have some of the film strip down here. Here's that seam binding I was showing you, and we're all just crazy about seam binding these days. I know I am. And I'll turn it, and you can see this back here is canvas. It's actually cotton duct back there. And what I did with that, I'll turn it so you can get a look at that. What I did with that, guys, was I tore it. I didn't cut it. I snipped the edge to get it started, and then I ripped it. And this is actually the salvage edge here that's kind of hairy and frayed. And I got it loose, you know, ripped a strip, and I fastened it to the spool using my score tape. And then I just wrapped it around. And when I got it so that all that was left was what would actually show when the spool was done, I took my distress stains, and the ones that I used for this were the antique linen, the broken china, and the peeled paint. And first I spritzed the canvas with just my plain old water bottle, and then I dabbed on the stains and I let it dry. And if it didn't blend quite enough to look grungy, because I didn't want it to look spotted, I wanted it to look washed out and faded and worn and grungy. So if it didn't fade quite enough, I just squirted a little more water on it. I let it dry completely, and then I stamped on it with another of my older Tim Holtz script sets in black archival ink. And then I just rolled it up. This adage pin here holds it in place. And if you turn it around, the film strip wraps around. This is a sticker from the Tim Holtz Crowded Attic sticker collection. And I just simply I actually stuck it on a piece of cardstock and trimmed around it, and then inked the edges with the Faded Jeans ink. And then that brings you back around to the front. So there you go. Those are 3 of the projects I've been working on. I'm going to give you a little sneak peek now of the last project that I'm doing with the art parts, both the shapes and the modeling film. And I decided to work on a mini album, because you guys know mini albums are my great love. I love doing mini albums. So this one is a combination of coasters and art parts, the shape art parts. Let me get in here a little bit, give you a look. This flower is done exactly like the flowers on the first project I showed you, just a little different shape. And there's a little clip here, and there'll be something hanging from this eventually. Oh, that's a sneak peek. I'll be finishing this up in a few days. I might get real ambitious and do a tutorial on some of this that I put in here. So that's it for this one, guys. I have another design team project to share with you, so stick around. I'll be right back. Bye-bye.